Hi everyone, today I'd like to spend a little time talking about how to support children with selective mutism at school. For children with SM, school may be one of the places they find it difficult to talk with their teachers, other school staff like their specials teachers, secretaries, lunch aides, as well as their classmates and friends. Therefore, it's really important for families and therapists and the school staff to work together to ensure that a child with SM is receiving appropriate supports within the school setting. Supports may take the form of either a 504 accommodation plan or an individualized education plan, otherwise known as an IEP. Many parents often wonder what the difference is between a 504 and an IEP. One of the key differences is that a 504 plan is for students who have a documented medical disability, and that disability interferes with a child's ability to learn within the classroom. With a 504 plan, a student has access to specific accommodations that are provided by his or her general education teacher. Now, an accommodation is a type of change that provides a student with equal access to learning. For example, there could be a change in the way a child completes an assignment, such as allowing him or her to submit a video of a class presentation instead of giving a live performance. There could be a change in the environment where a child learns, such as allowing the student to take a test in a quieter setting or within a small group format. There could also be a change in the timing of a task for a student. For example, some students are allotted extra time to complete assignments or tests. Note that none of these examples change the content of what a student is learning. Rather, accommodations can offer alternatives to how information is presented to the student or the format in which a student can demonstrate what he or she has learned. Now, when a student has a 504 plan, that student's parents and teacher, and sometimes the student depending on their age, meet to discuss what accommodations would be most beneficial and appropriate. In addition to the examples I just discussed, students with SM might also benefit from accommodations like preferential seating, so making sure that their assigned seat within the classroom is next to comfortable peers and away from the door or other distractions. They might also benefit from assigned times for bathroom breaks, specifically for those students who have trouble initiating speech and therefore may not be letting adults know when they need to use the restroom. Students may benefit from access to nonverbal assessments when possible, as well as being notified of changes in routine, so bigger changes like upcoming fire drills or field trips. They might also benefit from opportunities to access a school environment outside of the typical school hours, so arriving early or staying late to make sure they're getting comfortable within the classroom setting, or even visiting the school a week before school begins, so during summer hours, to make sure, again, they're comfortable in the school environment. Now, an IEP, on the other hand, is for children who are in need of specialized education services and supports. This would include not only accommodations like I just described, but also specialized instruction in a child's unique area of need, and that instruction is provided by a special education service provider, such as a special education teacher, a social worker, a speech and language pathologist, or an occupational therapist. For children with SM, there is not a blanket answer as to whether a 504 or an IEP is more appropriate. Rather, it's important to just work collaboratively with the professionals at your child's school to determine what interventions, accommodations, and/or specialized instructional supports would best match his or her need within the school setting. In order to start this conversation, parents should reach out to the school in writing, like sending a letter or an email, and requesting a meeting. Typically, principals and classroom teachers are great first people to contact because they often have the most interaction with students, as well as will know what other school professionals should be included in that meeting. And that might include the school social worker, psychologist, counselor, or speech and language pathologist. Now, when you have that meeting with school staff, it's important to know that some of the school professionals or those you are meeting with may have never worked with a student with SM before. Therefore, it will be important and helpful for parents and outside clinicians to share their knowledge and expertise and resources about SM. In turn, school professionals have expertise about education, as well as the many demands placed upon teachers and students within a single school day. So by working together, parents, clinicians, and school staff can use this knowledge to develop a great plan for a student with SM. When developing this plan, it will be important to consider how a student with SM might have consistent opportunities to practice being brave within the school setting via exposure-based practices. Next week, my colleague Caitlin will be talking about what exposure-based practices are and what they might look like within both the school and community setting.